What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to go over I'll call it a rumor for the purposes of this video, talking about PlayStation and 2025. So, you're seeing Xbox come out there, 30 games or whatever the number was on Sunday, and no, it's been a pretty solid week. We've gotten a lot of games, a lot of new games, a lot of release dates, release windows, and you might be asking yourself, okay, PlayStation, it had the state of play. It was kind of lacking, I think, at least you can say honestly, from the first party stuff, right? I don't think there's actually any arguing that, right? So, like, where's Ghost of Tsushima? Well, those could be shown at a showcase, but you might be asking yourself, for the love of God, PlayStation, please respond. Well, this isn't necessarily a response, but Shinobi does say, and I believe this was actually back on May 3rd, but he updated it, okay? So on May 3rd, he said that Sony had a few big ones that he knows about that are releasing in 2025, along with Death Stranding 2. But then I believe yesterday, so it might have been around the time of the Xbox show, maybe it was because of like fan comments and whatnot, he did respond to that original rumor, and he said basically it's from their owned studios, not studios like, or not games we can say, right? Like Stellar Blade or Rise of the Ronin. And although those are AAA games and those are kind of PlayStation games, or at least PlayStation exclusives when they come out, those aren't the games he's talking about. So I think that's really big. A lot of people that I've seen in the comments, of this kind of story that Shinobi had, I've seen a lot of like, well, no duh, like obviously, but I don't know if it is obviously, because you look at 2024 and most of the big at least actually right now, maybe all of them, the big PlayStation games that we've gotten so far have not been studio owned, right? Stellar Blade is a great game. Rise of the Ronin I actually really like, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is actually my game of the year. So they've crushed it this year in terms of like a game comes out and it's only on PlayStation, but the thing is they're not Sony owned. So, you could say, no duh, obviously, but to be honest with you, I feel like there's a little bit more there, because now when you think of 2025, Death Stranding 2 shouldn't count, right? And that's actually a comment that I've seen people say. It's like, well, Death Stranding 2, well, that shouldn't count as part of what Shinobi's saying. In fact, you want to look at, okay, take Death Stranding 2 out. What else do you have from PlayStation next year? I still want to believe that Ghost of Tsushima 2 could happen. I guess there's no guarantee. It will be at the time, right? 5 years after the first game. You look at God of War Ragnarok, you look at Spider-Man, both of those actually took 5 years. I feel like 5 years is about the bare minimum that you can ask to kind of like squeeze it out. Now, God of War Ragnarok kind of had its own, up and down fan reception of like, should it have handled the rest of the mythology in just one game or split up? But overall, I think it was received well. Spider-Man, I will say, more and more as time went on, a lot of talk about Sony potentially rushing them, right? Huge parts of the game scrapped. They had to maybe redo the third act entirely. So I guess what I'm getting at is almost playing devil's advocate against myself. 5 years does seem like the minimum. We got Spider-Man and God of War in that time, but maybe God of War is an exception, or maybe that shouldn't count as part of an example. But Spider-Man, it feels like Insomniac might have had to rush it to get it out in 5 years. So maybe Ghost of Tsushima 2 isn't realistic for 25, but maybe the Venom game, maybe Wolverine, and then you have to start thinking about the other studios, right? Like, does Blue Point, for the love of God, come out of hiding, because that would count. Is there maybe a new Housemarque game, right? Maybe not Returnal 2, but something else. So those would be the ones that I'm kind of looking at. Ghost of Tsushima 2 would definitely be like number one, but if you're not counting, right, Death Stranding 2, then I think you look to things like Ghost 2 or Venom / Wolverine, something Insomniac, maybe Cory Barlog's game, although highly doubt it, but maybe maybe Blue Point, right? Really, honestly, the games that we've speculated, like, I think I've actually talked about a lot of these games quite a bit, on the channel, and I feel like I'm going to be right for some of them. And again, it is a rumor, but Shinobi absolutely knows his stuff. He's like 1,000%, plugged into the industry, and I'm sure he knows specifically the games that are coming out. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.